Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to Joe's Retro World. Today, we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how to change your capacitors in your Sega Saturn. Now, I made a previous video showing you how to go through and open your Saturn and just look to see what kind of mother revision board you had and how to order it from Console 5. So once you order your capacitor kits, just like I have, okay, now this is for the power board, and I already replaced all the motherboard caps. And you're probably saying, well, what's this video? Well, I still want to go through and show you what I did and how I did it. And that way you can have an idea of exactly how you're going to tackle it. Because my Sega Saturn, I have to open it up and look on the inside and see what kind of capacitors it had, right? And motherboard. And it will have these surface mounted capacitors that are a little more difficult to replace than a regular through hole. So this is a through hole capacitor right here that a lot of people are familiar with, and they see, you got your little negative stripe, and then in the positive or the black part. But yeah, the long leg is always the positive, the shorter leg is the negative. Okay, but yeah, these are a little more easier to install than the surface mounted ones that are here. And I had the surface mounted ones. So I just wanted to go through and use a dummy board. I have this old circuit board here that has surface mounted capacitors. And I want to show you how I remove them very efficiently with some flush cutters. That's all I do. I come through with some flush cutters. I'm going to cut them out. And that's how I did this. It only took me 2.5 hours to do all the motherboard, but I'm going to walk you through it. So let's open her up, and I'm going to start explaining exactly how I did it so that you can take it and do it and not be nervous or scared. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's do this. So order your capacitor kits with the video recommendation I can show you. Get them. Now the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna, of course, open up your Sega Saturn, take it apart, and pretty much every Saturn's the same way. It has these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black screws that hold it in place. So let's get them out. I recommend you use a screwdriver that has a magnetic tip like mine. It's the best. That way when you're taking the screws out, they just stay stuck to it, you can pull them right out instead of having to turn the console upside down and hit on it. All right, once removing the 5 Phillip head screws in the bottom, we're gonna lift this up, and let me put it like this. So I took the back cover off already. Sorry about that. So now that I separate it, okay, yeah, it has a little clip. All right, on the inside you can see here, it has all these wires that are still connected. So you have to disconnect this stuff first. So this is the power down here for mine. Has a little clip that you got to push so it can release. Okay, right here. And then you have this one going to the laser. Be careful not to damage it. Then you got a second one going to the laser. Gentle. Alright. Oh, wrong one. But you eventually needed that one too. So we got this one right down here, these two. And then this green one over here. All right, so that was how you separate the cover. Yeah, it has these 1, 2, 3 wires, 4 wires. All right, so set that to the side. That's where the power board is. So now once you're inside, you can go ahead and start taking your screws out. You got 2 screws here, one here, one here, one here. 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6. There's another one hidden underneath here, 7 and 8 down here hidden. There's one here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take all these screws out, everything, and then it's gonna come up. Once it comes up, then you'll be able to get to your motherboard, okay? So I want to kind of show you. Be very gentle when you're pulling up this ribbon right here. It has a little clip. Yeah, let me see. It can log in. Yep. Pick that clip up with your fingers on either side, or tweezers, doesn't matter. And then this ribbon comes right out, and then you can just lift up your. Oh, I forgot to remove the screw here. Be sure to keep your screws, in a little container, safe, and then divide them up. Of course, the ice tray works best if you don't have anything else. I just use a regular. This is a cigarette. What is this called? An ashtray. Yeah, just an ashtray. Okay, so let's keep going. Take that off. Take your laser, out. Now you're gonna need to remove these 4 little pedestals. Okay, these 4 pedestals also right here. Now, when you're removing this, it's held in with clips. So there's a clip here. There's a clip here, and there's another clip here. But also on the bottom, there's a little board that it clips onto. Okay, and it's really hard. So when you go to remove this screw to take all this board out right here, it's very difficult. So don't force it. Just wiggle it. Open these with your fingers. Pick it up. Wiggle it until it finally comes out. Okay. So let me kind of show you. I didn't want y'all to break stuff. All right. So it's just one screw. You lift it over here, and okay, it pops up like this, but it's still held in with these 2 little clips on the side. Yours might not have it. I'm not sure. Each board is different. It's crazy. All right. There he goes. So yeah, it's held in place with this. Okay, so be very careful. All right. Now I am missing. Yeah, that's where it was. I thought I was missing a screw. There it is. I was missing a screw. I had an extra one, and that's where it was going, right here. So there it goes. There solves the mystery. All right, so then I got another screw here. So I'm gonna take these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm gonna take those 12 out, and the board will come right out. All right, last of the leg are out. So I got the 2 black screws here separate, so I know that they go back right here on either end. And then all the rest are the gold ones like this, and then of course the gold ones for the feet are still connected to the feet. But everything came out. This comes out as soon as you remove that 1 screw. It just comes out. You can leave the battery, take it out, doesn't matter. I'm not doing dramatic anything that's gonna ruin the battery, so just pull the board up, and that allows you to clean everything on the bottom, clean the shell, and start cleaning the motherboard if you want. I suggest you clean it with some brand new alcohol that's high quality, that doesn't leave a residue, because it will leave some ugly residue if you use a cheaper alcohol base. Okay, trust me. So yeah, now that you have it completed, taken apart, you're gonna have to replace this small capacitor here on this little board. They do send you with a replacement. Okay, so you'll cut this one out and replace this one with the method that I show you, and also every single one of these surface mounted ones. And there are a cluster, and it does get a little tight working, okay, when you're doing it. But let me show you how I did it. Okay, this is the only way I knew how. So what I did was, sorry about that, I drew me a diagram. Okay, I drew a diagram and I labeled every single one of these little capacitors that was on here. Okay, so as you can see up here, I have the 22 microfarads, 6.3 volts, 220 microfarads, 220. I got the voltage, which is 4 volts. So yeah, everything matches up perfectly. I drew the little chips so I can know what chips are what to what. Yeah, you map it out correct, y'all. Map it out completely correct. And mark every single one of your capacitors, the little ones that are hidden to the side, everything, okay? Once you do your diagram, then go through and lay out, open your pack of capacitors, open them up, and start finding all the values. This is a 10 microfarad, 16 volt. They're going to send you a 10 microfarad, maybe a 25 or 30 volt. So what you're going to do, just going to go to your capacitor, the little surface mounted capacitor. You're going to read the value on the top. Let me see what this one is. All right, so check this one out. Right here, I have a 47 microfarad, 6.3 volt. They sent me two of these, which is a 47 microfarad, 35 volt. That is compatible right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set this one right here. But they sent another one. They sent some more in the package. I just don't have it because I've already put them all on the board. Every single one of these have been replaced already by me with all the values that they gave me. So let me show you. 22 microfarad, 6.3 volt. It's going to be these two top small ones right here. Let's see if we can zoom in. Get some lighting. There you go. 22 microfarads. I can't tell the voltage because of their code. But yeah, that's how you do it. You go find the correct microfarad and then just put them on there. Okay. So now you have them on a piece of paper laid out, every single one of your capacitors, where it's supposed to go and all that. You're going to have some left over from the kit. Like I did, I had actually a lot left over from the kit. Let me show you what I had. This was the kit of the motherboard. And the reason why there was capacitors left over was because this is revision V0.5. It's right here. Mainboard version VA0.5. Now this capacitor kit is similar and it works with, I think it's version 01 or 00, something like that. It's 3 different versions, but yeah, you're gonna have some capacitors left over because they give you the kit, which is basically for all 3 motherboards. So not all 3 are the same, but here are everything to do, you know, all 3. So yeah, here's a replacement. The only issue I had was these are 330 microfarad push through capacitors right here on the bottom, these two. Now that 330 microfarad, I know the rule of thumb is they have to be the same microfarad, but that the voltage could be higher, okay? But over here, my replacement push through are 220 microfarad. You can see right here on the side. It's 220 microfarad, 10 volt. These are 330. So I don't know if they made a mistake. So I did not replace these, okay, y'all? I'm going to email them. And once I email Console 5 and get an answer of like, hey, these are the correct, you know, replacement push through capacitors for these two, I will come back and replace them. But for now, I only did the surface mounted ones. And doing this completely fixed all the issues I had with my Sega Saturn. And you're saying, what issue did you have, Joe? Well, mine was when I went to go turn this on, it would take forever to warm up and then show a picture. It wouldn't show no video footage. All it was showing was audio, and even the audio wasn't as clear and crisp as you want it to be. So after changing all these surface mounted capacitors here, I went to turn it on and boom, it works perfect, y'all. It works just so perfect now. So now that I did this, I'm gonna have to do the power board with the finishing kit because I ordered 2 kits. All right, this one's gonna be a little more difficult. I won't be able to show this because I'm gonna be using solder wick to remove the solder, and this is just a very long and tedious procedure. There are other videos out there of how to replace these through holes, so I'll provide those in the description. But I just wanted to show you and explain how I'm gonna be doing stuff and how I did mine, of course. So let's go ahead and show you something else that would help you. Okay, give me 1 sec. All right, now something else that helped me was to bend the tip of my soldering gun. You can see it there. Yeah. Now I bent the tip because there are angles and gaps that you're just not going to be able to reach into. And by bending this with a pair of pliers gently, I was able to get through and solder in between these small little crevices. I mean, when I'm over here and I was doing these, it was extremely difficult, so I had to move at an angle not to burn nothing. Okay, so I'm turning this board, holding it like this, you know, and I'm gently dabbing the solder onto these points over here, just like this. Yeah, it's difficult, but it is doable. So don't be scared. Go out there and tackle it and do it. Just take my advice with all these little tips, and it will help. All right, so let me go show you how to remove them and then re-solder them back on. So let me turn my soldering station on, start warming up. And I'm not using no special soldering station. It's just a little cheap one that I bought, but it is a soldering station. It is helpful. Also, I got just these little cheap Amazon tips, and I bent them, and that's the tips that I use. So nothing too fancy. Okay, they do work. The only thing you need to do is constantly keep them clean, because if you don't keep them clean, then the tip just won't hold solder. It just won't. So let's get our donor board over here so I can show you how to remove it while my soldering iron is heating up. All right, so now remember, this is just a donor board, and it has surface mounted capacitors that are identical to the ones on the Saturn. So that's why I'm showing you on this, because I already did it to my Saturn. Okay. All right, I know y'all gonna ask me, why are you doing it this board? All right, so I want to remove all these surface mounted capacitors. Easiest and fast way is just like this. Take your time and go over here, and as you can see, they have a little line that divides, you know, the top from the bottom, you know, pretty good. I like to get like right above that line, and my little flush cutters, you know, they're not the biggest, so they're not gonna go around the whole body of the surface mounted capacitor, but it goes enough to where I can hold the top, hold it down, press down, and then snip very carefully and cut half of it, turn it around, hold it, cut. Now, during the process of doing this, I'm actually cutting the legs that attach this little capacitor to the motherboard. See there now, the little popping through there. So now I'm gonna go through like this. Very gently pull that off. All right, so now I got that little plastic pad still stuck on there. I'll take my time, pick it up. Some of them are gonna break just from the heat and age. So then you're left with the little legs, and that's what you want. you want the good little legs to be still soldered down, nice and neat and clean like that. So let's remove this next one. And that capacitor stunk. So it was going bad on this board. So we go to the next one. Keep it nice and level. I'm not gonna twist or nothing like this. I'm just gonna go. That's all I'm doing, y'all. That's why I'm supporting it on top. You do not want to force these out. You don't want to be very over aggressively because you will tear the pads that you need, to solder back to the motherboard. Okay, just like that. Now this is where it comes in handy to have some tweezers. So I'll get my tweezers. Alright. I'm trying to be gentle. Alright. So you're going to do this another 34 times or whatever it is until you get every one of those off. So you're going to go through it, and it might take you 3 or 4 times to cut this big boy off right here, but you're going to go all around it just gently like this. You have to position your hands to do it all properly, y'all. Okay. If you have to, cut it up. Just be gentle not to pull the legs up. Okay. Just want to take this capacitor out. Okay, see? Now you can actually do this. Cut the legs like that, but be gentle. You don't want to put any force on them to pull up the pad. So unless you know what you're doing, I don't recommend you do it like that, but it does come out faster. So now you can see over here, the little pads have been cut off by me by shearing them off. So now the pads are nice and clean already. I'm gonna go ahead and take some solder wick and unwick it. So let's do this. Let's clean up my area real quick. So I'll get my soldering iron, and now it's nice and hot. So I'm gonna clean it in my brass with resin. This stuff right here, tip cleaner. So clean your tip, okay? Get it nice and clean, all right? Where you ain't got no old solder, nothing like that. Then get you a sponge that comes with your kit. Clean the tip again. I like to do this all the time. And your tip is nice and clean, okay? Now, get a little bit of solder, put it on the tip. We're gonna go over here to this leg. Alright, right there. And we're gonna proceed to heat them up and remove them. Just like that. Okay, And that's why it's good to put a little extra solder. Hold on. There you go. I'm gonna do this to the rest. Okay. Yeah, don't let it pile up like that. But that's how you remove the legs. Okay. Now once you remove the legs, now I cleaned the tip of my soldering gun. I got it nice and clean. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some solder wick right here. This is just some copper solder wick. Oh, I'm gonna stick it in some flux real quick. Sorry, y'all. Okay, now it's all full of flux. This little solder wick. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna clean up these pads. And I use solder wick on the copper thingy because the copper wick, because it helps the solder flow onto it. Oh shoot, hold on. Let's do this correct, y'all. All right, do these. All right. So you're gonna clean up all of those capacitors. You're gonna cut them off, completely off, and then clean the pads just like that. Once you clean the pads, you're gonna proceed to tense the pads with fresh solder now. So now you're gonna go back and I grab a Q-tip. All right, I use some Q-tip to dip into my solder paste and then touch the pads that need to be tensed with new fresh solder. So got it there. I'm gonna put some solder on my gun here. And now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna put just a little bit of solder on this one pad. Just like this. Oh, that looks ugly. That's real ugly. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Alright. So let's remove some of that by cleaning my tip of my solder gun. Alright, so now we're gonna get our little capacitor and we're gonna orient it the correct way. The black line is the negative and the silver side is the positive. So once you figure out the orientation that you need to be, and the Sega Saturn actually puts it very nicely. It actually marks it. So you look on your board, get the orientation, and then place it just like this. Now I actually put a little bit of flux on the bottom here of these capacitors. Oh, so sorry, y'all. Did not know the film was still going. I sure do apologize. Okay, so I was putting flux on the bottom of this capacitor. All right, let me fill up my tip. Alright. We'll lay it on top, line it up, hold it, and then just barely touch it. The plastic is gonna burn sometimes. As long as you got good flux, everything, it'll melt, and boom, it's in place. Alright, so I know it ain't the best looking. I don't know why. That's why I hate doing these films, because I could never get it to work perfect for me. Alrighty, y'all. So the other side was giving me trouble, so I wanted to show you how to do it correct. So as you can see, there are two legs on the bottom, one facing left and right. Okay, these need to line up just like that on both sides. You need to make sure on both sides, and that you have space for the solder on both sides. And this is very difficult to do on camera, but in person, yeah, I'm not paying attention to the camera. So now that I'm holding it, I can go ahead and get my soldering iron and tack it in place. So I'm gonna try to do this. Hold on. All right, bear with me, yo. That's why I hate doing this on camera. Okay, so that one took. So you see how I had to hold it on that leg for that solder to melt and flow through. All right, so now I gotta do the other side. All right, so turn it around, add a little bit of solder. Go back. Alright, that should do it. That should have flowed some solder underneath it. Yeah, it's on there. Let's see if we can zoom in better. It's not the prettiest, but you're gonna have to go through and do all of them like that on both sides. Oh, that's so ugly. I don't know why it came out like that. Every other time it'll come out good, but trying to do this on camera, nope. So after 2.5 hours of going through and doing each and every one of these, because they're not perfect, y'all, but they do work. Everything is connected. Yeah, that's some of the ugliest soldering I've seen. Yes, I know. I got better at it on the top over here with these other capacitors, and I got really good with these, taking my time somewhat. Yeah, it looks kind of crazy because you do burn the plastic of the capacitors, but hey, that's what you have to go through. Okay, so I'm done with the motherboard. I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the power board. I don't want to show it because it just makes for a really long video. This is already 35 minutes. This is just over long, and it tires me out because it's a lot to make these videos like this. But I wanted to go ahead and just try to explain that yes, it is daunting, it is scary, but take your time and get the good equipment, go through and just take your time, and trust me, if you go in the mindset that you're gonna damage your console, you're gonna damage it. Just go in knowing and believing that, hey, everything's gonna be okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on doing my power board by myself. But once I'm done, I'll show y'all the board put together. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause it and do that off camera.